Welcome back. This is Coffee and Questions. Caleb and I have traveled to the outermost extents of this dirt road to provide you with a better viewing experience. As a bonus feature of this video, I'm going to show you how to drink instant coffee. Alright, we're drinking black coffee, instant coffee. It is really good and it is organic. Get out of here. There are a couple of key secrets. Bring it in. Cut these open, like so. Cup number one, in. So, I've been watching too much Gordon Ramsay masterclass. Take this beautiful coffee in, that's what he says. And now, the other secret is you want to pour in a very, very aggressive manner to stir it up. So just like this. The other secret is that you don't want too much water. You want it a little strong. I guess you could do 2 packets in one if that's your thing. Caleb, yours looks like wonderful. I don't know. Who did it best? We gotta get a cheers. Cheers, man. Okay. So I suppose now we can do the answering the value proposition. Number one answer. Fix it in post. Get out of here. Okay. We've got some questions to answer. I guess we'll get right to it. GMake7 wants to know about creating photos that tell a story. Not only composition. Oh, it's Jen. Come on over here, Jen.
One bag is all you need.
One bag? We get Jen. So this is Jen. We're doing a little YouTube video. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Are you drinking instant coffee too?
Of course. Yeah. Black coffee.
Black coffee. So this is Jen from last night. I went over there and bothered him and took some portraits of him. Do you want to see one?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi. Hello.
I don't know where this goes in the video, but over there last night was this cool dude named Jen, and he's like bike packing through the area. So I went and brought him some coffee and took his portrait, and at some point we're gonna throw a little bit of Jen in on the story.
My wife is German, so it's like I know how to do all the work in the Austrian bistro in San Francisco, famous one for many years.
Oh wow.
So I can do double duty. I can make all the schnitzels, goulash, everything you want.
No way.
And then I said I have to make a living.
Yeah.
And then I had nothing because I've been ski bound for all these years. I have no money.
Yeah.
No money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I gotta figure something out, right? So
yeah.
if I work all night, make croissants, and then ski all day, yeah, all right.
And never sleep.
When it started, now I can't ski because it's too busy.
You're too good at baking, and
Yeah,
now you
check
get
it out
ski.
on Yelp.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm going
It's
to.
sick.
Well, can I include that little video that we took in our YouTube video?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Better send some to me.
I will.
Right?
I absolutely will.
And have a good time, dude. And happy birthday on Friday, dude.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Thank you, my friend.
All right.
I'll see you
Take
before I
care.
leave.
All right.
Later. All right. So that was Jen. Also, you're gonna see me doing this, playing fetch with Penny, so multitasking. First question, GMake7 wants to know about creating photos that tell a story, not only composition, but lighting and color grading. I personally don't think I'm very good at this yet. I'm working on it, but I think the big thing to keep in mind is relationships and context. So, you know, we just hung out with Jen, right? You could shoot something like that in a lot of different ways, and I think that involves showing both of those things. And so, you know, if I were going to follow him around and shoot and try to tell his story, I would want wide scene setters where he's like a tiny dot, right? I might want portraits of him like we took last night, maybe some kind of medium wide stuff, and I'd also want some details. I would want to shoot in, you know, pre-dawn. I don't want to shoot throughout the day. I want to see the light change, the, you know, the dust on the road that we're on come up, like all of those different facets. So yeah, I'm still working on this myself, but the thing that I'm learning is to shoot as much as possible, spend as much possible time with your subject in order to not only see the good stuff that happens, but to better understand your subject so you can actually, you know, shoot with greater comprehension and, you know, really relay what's important. Let's see, Brett Pitts says, are vintage film cameras up to the task of any professional work? AE1s, etc. Totally. If your client is okay with like the look of film and the turnaround time of film and, you know, the not being able to review instantly of film, sure. All of that old gear is old, even if it's reliable, so you know, you might like want 1 or 2 or 3 backups and maybe something else, but it's going to give you a certain look if that look and feel works for you and your client, and you know, the other time intensive parts of shooting film, then yeah, go for it. Just have backups. Adam Combs, cultivating airtight integrity when it comes to personal and work relationships. I think the thing with any relationship, with anything you're doing, is not to be perfect and not to, you know, be without mistakes. It's just about creating an environment where you can give feedback and get feedback from the other person or people. And so basically you're making like a safe place for them, right? So it's okay to mess up, but if you're a person that is unable to, you know, get criticism or feedback or anything like that, if you, you know, respond to things like that in a way that makes the person that's probably trying to help you feel bad, instead of, you know, coming closer together, you're going to create a divide. And that goes for everything. You know, they say like business is business, but I like to go about everything kind of in the same way. So really, to me, it's like letting whoever know, giving them the opportunities to like provide feedback, and that's the biggest thing. You know, if there's communication, if there's trust, and if there's, you know, your actions speak louder than your words. So if you can take the feedback and actually change that, you're really going to prove that you care about them. It's all about your actions. Next up, also miss you, Adam. There's a few Adams that I miss. Adam ____ Morris. It's all Adams today on the show. Tips for people who can't access cool locations, forested mountain lakes, etc. This is a big one. I'm from Oklahoma, and I obviously got out of there like the second I could. And, you know, I didn't really take too many photos there, but when I go back now, I actually shoot quite a bit. And, you know, I definitely live in probably the most beautiful place on earth and have, you know, everything. It's idyllic. Something that I learned a few years ago and still am trying to learn is that, you know, it seems to be like the draw on social media. People go to a landmark and they take a photo of that thing, right? It's like a checklist, like, got it. And that's fine, but I kind of stopped shooting things like that on purpose. And so, I mean, you saw we have like crazy mountains and things like that over here. And I definitely shoot that. But at the same time, I like to take photos like, let me show you. Okay, let's, he's like, I would shoot photos like over here too. Like there are just trees, and that basically creates a backdrop, right? You can imply things, and it doesn't always need to be a mountain. You can use like, you know, a bunch of trees as just a color palette or a way to use light and shadow. You can do that with a field. There are, you know, amazing places and amazing light everywhere, and really, you know, if you live in the middle of Ohio, there is stuff that you can find and shoot. Like if I were, you know, middle of, let's go with Ohio. You know, I'm probably going to drive around and find some cool bridge, find a swimming hole. Just, I'm going to look and see what's there and figure out what light falls on it best. But you absolutely don't need, you know, all the mountains and stuff like that. And in fact, it can definitely be a crutch for folks depending on what type of photography you do. So wherever you're at, there's cool stuff. Just spend some time getting to know it. Think of things that you think are cool and photograph them where you're at. Liam A. Daniel, what advice would you give on someone starting out as a freelancer? Oh man, I feel like I'm just starting out. Stop worrying about gear. And I would say if you are starting out as a freelancer, hopefully you have shot enough to know what you want to do. So that could be weddings or corporate events. It could be commercial, headshots, whatever. There's a couple of different ways you can play it. And you can be the guy or the gal that's like, I'll shoot everything. Anything you want, like pick up the phone, call me. And that could be helpful in times. The other way is to like dive in and hone in on something. That's what I am working towards. That's what a lot of people work towards. The goal is not to be just, you know, one of many who a client could contact or pick for a job. The goal is to be the person that does this thing where the client has to call you. If they want that thing you want, then they really want it, and you're basically the person that they have to come to. If they don't get you, they're getting like a watered down version. So that's the thing. You can shoot selfishly, and that means like shoot what you like, because the more you do that, the better you're gonna get and the more depth you're gonna have in that. You'll be able to shoot things in a way that no one else really can, and you know, ultimately that makes you more valuable. You're going to push away most of the potential clients that you might get, but you're gonna have a much more receptive audience of that remaining demographic of, you know, brands, clientele, etc. So do what you want and do it a lot. Dude, don't shake your head. I know that's the wrong answer. Kevin Horstman, how to get clients on board with only shooting film for them? Ask them. Shoot a bunch of stuff on film and have that on your website. Show them that. Shoot a project where, you know, maybe you're not getting paid, but you're shooting, say, like, I don't know, coffee mug or whatever. Set up your own shoot like that. Shoot it all on film. Show them how good it is. You know, make them not want any digital. I don't really shoot only film for projects. I like both of them. They're both great. I like to shoot digital and film hand in hand. I think that's a great thing to do. I'm also fine just shooting only digital or only, like, it doesn't really matter to me. I like to have some film shots so that I can color correct the digital to those. But with anything, if you're trying to get hired for something, it's proof of concept. The client wants to see someone who is already out there doing the things that are applicable for what they have on the table. So go out, make your own projects, shoot it all on film, and let them come crawling to you. Also, after every question, I put down the phone so that I can swat mosquitoes. And so every end of every question is going to be like, Dave Herring, Do you shoot JPEG on Fuji, and if so, what settings do you like? I don't. There's a lot of people that shoot JPEG only, or JPEG and RAW. They use like the film simulations, the color profiles or whatever, and their stuff looks awesome. I've been kind of unable to get that to work for me. So I just shoot RAW. You know, I did some days where I was shooting JPEG and RAW at the same time, and I just always pick the RAW files. I think it's a great option though, and I think if it's something you're interested in, you could definitely spend the time and like make the settings your own, figure out what works for you. So just because I don't do something, rephrase, if I don't do something, it's probably a good idea for you to do it, but personally, I don't shoot JPEGs. Danny, California, where do you print your photos? At home. We should probably do a video about this, but I'm still kind of learning the process. Also, a lot of people asked, I bought a Canon ProGraph 300 printer. I've been experimenting with papers, ICC profiles. It's like endlessly boring. So once I feel I'm actually dialed in and can talk about it in an informed and succinct way, we'll make a video about it. But yeah, Canon Pro 300. From what I've heard, all of the Canon photo printers are pretty great, so I don't think you can go wrong. That's a good one. St. John Imagery. What is your main source of income? Commercial and ad photography. That's 70-80% of it. I've done some like, you know, social media stuff before. It's fine. But yeah, most of my income is, you know, before 2020, it was, you know, being on set, shooting, you know, things for different brands in different cities, things like that. Through 2020 and into now, as you know, remote shoots or like going back to LA and shooting are starting to pop up on the table again, I've been doing a lot of self-produced shoots here in the state, which has been awesome. We've got a good little team going, but yeah, commercial and advertising photography is most of it. I make some money from selling prints and presets, but those are more kind of pet projects. Cold Mule, how do you organize and archive your photos? Figuring out what to do with raw/edited files. This is its own video. Once again, I'm still learning, but basically, I go out here, I shoot a bunch of raw photos, I go back home and I import them into my RAID drive that's connected to the iMac. And RAID is, once again, a whole nother topic, but it's a huge hard drive. And so I have a folder called raw files. Within that folder is 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. I click in the 2021 folder and I have a 1.21 January, 2.21 February, so on and so forth. So, you know, for today, I'll go through and import them into a folder that's basically the date and some sort of pertinent information to the shoot. So we're gonna have to bleep out the name of the location. We'll do that in post, but I'll give you the little sound. Beep. So today, you know, I go home and import. It's gonna be 6.23.21. Beep. Better bleep it. And that's, for me, that's been the thing where I can, as the years go by, most easily remember everything. You know, if you open a folder, you kind of see that list of locations and it kind of brings you back. You know, you might see like, oh, you know, in June I kind of shot this array of stuff. So it's really an organized, I'll probably have to like trim this answer a little bit. Really, it's about organization and consistency as far as storing the raw files. You don't want to be changing things month to month, year to year. So yeah, year, new folder, month, new folder, and then day.month.year location name is how I do it. Edited photos, I export things into a Dropbox folder that has the same structure. So in Dropbox, I have, you know, a 2018, 19, 20, 21 year, and then I have the month inside of each one of those year folders. I export into that, so then it's backed up to the cloud automatically. But I care much more about storing my raw files versus the JPEGs. I have redundancy hard drives in multiple locations, etc. Again, this is like a whole different topic, but you want redundancy and you want an organized and quick way to be able to like edit photos from either last week or 5 years ago. Louis Heater says, what was your first paid gig that got you stoked? My first paid gig got me stoked. It was, I don't know, like 1968, and Dos Equis hit me up on Instagram, and they licensed 3 photos I had taken. I forget what the price was, but I was doing music at the time, I was touring, and you know, it wasn't a huge amount of money, but that was more money for work that I'd already done than I'd ever made in music. Like, I never saw $1 from music, nor did I expect to, but it's just like, man, this could be a reality. And it was something that I was working towards. I was taking like photography trips and sleeping in the front seat of my truck and all that, but like the first time one connected, I was stoked. And I remember being on tour, one of the last tours I went on, and I thought, I should reach back out to Dos Equis and I'll just tell them I'm going to Alaska and see if they want me to take some more photos for them, which I did, and they said yes. They didn't know that had they not agreed to the project that I would not have gone to Alaska, because I had like absolutely no money, right? So it worked out, and those 2 back-to-back jobs for Dos Equis were, I was like, this is it. I am, you know, as opposed to touring and photography, I was like super stressed out, not making any money. Over here, I was like starting to make money and having a blast, so I just chased it. But yeah, if you can, take jobs that you're excited about, and maybe don't do the ones that sound like a nightmare, and it'll kind of, even though times may be a little bit more lean in between some of the jobs, I think ultimately in the long run, you enjoy it a little bit more. Once again, I've put my phone down. I'm gonna grab it. Also, this is the first annual company mandatory camping trip. The mosquitoes are terrible. Let's see. Mark Davidson, 8, how consistently do you sell prints? How do you get into selling prints? Dude, prints are hard for me. Every time I post a photo anywhere, there are people going, do you sell a print of this? Like, I would love a print. Everyone is so sketchy. I will like set up a print store or message them back and say, yeah, here it is. Here's the size and the price, and just like get ghosted, or like, oh, sorry, I don't get it. Whereas I can like put a preset out and sell like a whole ton, and no one even tells me they want to buy those. So what I have found to be the case, since I'm not trying to do, you know, selling prints as a main part of my business, is that I make a print that I like. And so all of a sudden it exists, it's right there, there's like 1 or 2 of them, it's a certain size, it like removes all of these decisions for people, and I just post it on my Instagram story, and someone will DM and go, I want it, like there it is. So I think for prints, it's not like a normal purchase for people, and there's also like, they don't know like what paper it is, like, I don't know, it's a lot of like nerdy stuff, even the sizing. So I think for me, if I just make a print that I want to, as I'm learning to do it, put it out there, people can just go, no, I don't want it, or yeah, I want it. That's been way more consistent and quick and kind of fun than, you know, setting up a whole print shop and then like sitting around with the crickets waiting for people to come in. If you're interested in selling prints, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are actually qualified to talk about it that sell a lot of prints, so you might do another search for that. Penny, that's your buddy. That's your buddy. Will you pay everything?
Thank you
Jen,
for your friendship.
dude, likewise.
And,
I'll be in touch with you, man.
And
have a good one.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Woo! I'll send you photos.
All right. So if you stop by Utah, Salt Lake.
Lone Pine.
Yeah, Lone Pine. All right, brother. Have a good
Later.
one.
Have a good one, man. God, he's so cool. Dude, look. how do you make your coffee at home and outdoors? All the nerdy details. So, I don't know. Instant is an option. That's like, I do that a lot now, especially when we wake up at like 3:15. If I do that, and if I'm just making coffee at home, I will grind up vinyl from Black Coffee. Not sponsored, I just like their stuff. And I do a Kalita. I do about 20 grams, which is just about a handful. I double check it every now and then, but about 20 grams. And yeah, the Kalita basically takes care of the rest. It's like, a pour over, but instead of just being like a cone like the V60, it's flat on the bottom, and it gives you a little bit more of a consistent brewing. So it's good for a civilian like me who's not completely dialed in. But really though, it's kind of the same everywhere, but the Instant is like so good that out here I keep like a little camping stove in the back of whatever car, and we might get done with the shoot and I'll just pull over on the side of the road and make a cup and keep on going. But yeah, I'm pretty simple. My buddy Jim, who owns Black Coffee, like roasts it, everything, he has helped me get dialed in a lot, and he's a total coffee nerd. The thing I've learned is that it's good to learn as much as you can, and then after that you can just kind of play. Like, not everything has to be by the book all the time. You can like you can try different things. So yeah, I don't take it too seriously, but it's nice to have like a little base knowledge and something to go off. But as you can see, we drink a lot of Instant around here. Caleb, didn't you have some questions?
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? What's wrong with you?
What happened in your childhood to make you
What happened? Caleb Stasko says, what happened in your childhood to make you this way? Caleb Stasko says, why are you this way? Caleb Stasko says, block me. So how much impact upon the final photos does one film camera have versus another, basically? Good question. They're all shooting whatever film stock you put in them, and they're all shooting like the same size. So that should be a kind of baseline. If you're talking about 35 millimeter and you're like, I want ultimate quality, well, just like go to 645. It's always going to be better. Same thing from going 645 to 6.6, 6.7, etc. But there's a couple things to think about. The way the camera functions may impact the photos you get, and that could have something to do with like autofocus or not, right? Are you shooting fast moving things, and if you have a camera with autofocus, you get the shot? That's an effect on your final image. There are certain things like, with rangefinders, since there's no mirror like on a DSLR or on an SLR, the back of the lens mount, the flange is able to be closer to the film plane. Apparently, optically, that's a lot easier to design for. So with a rangefinder, you basically get access to technically better lenses. So like, the Leica lenses are very well made and touted as such, but they just have like, I think, an easier starting point to design for versus like the SLR. That being said, again, if you are looking for more quality, go to a larger piece of film. And Dan Milner has said it, we get lured into shooting these larger formats because like everything you shoot is just, it looks so good and dreamy. You should absolutely go watch Dan's videos. He's way more informed than I am. But if you like walk around with a 6x7 camera, you can take pictures of like trash cans and like literally anything, and it just looks like a dream. You're like, oh my gosh, I am so good. Like, this is amazing. And so Dan has said, like, if it's a good picture, he might have said something like this. If it's a good photo, it's going to look good at any format. So I keep that in mind. I like 35 mostly for the convenience, and I don't really try to get too nitpicky within that format. They're all going to look pretty similar as a short answer. Just find one that fits in with how you shoot and what you shoot, and yeah, if you want to like think everything that you shoot is amazing, just shoot 6.7. Okay, so how would I meter like a high contrast scene? For example, a landscape with the sun coming in over the mountains at me with film, right? I would, knowing that it's film and that it behaves in a certain way that if I don't have shadow detail, I won't be able to recover it really. And at the same time, I can overexpose the highlights and kind of have a gradual roll off. You have a little bit of freedom. I'm going to probably expose for the shadows. And what that means is, you know, say this is my viewfinder, right? I'm taking a vertical photo, and say the mountains go right through the middle and it's bright sun and it's dark shadows. So what does metering for the shadows mean? Okay, here's our horizon line, right? I'm gonna point the camera where the whole frame basically is down here. I'm gonna meter for that, and then I'm gonna recompose and take the photo. So that's gonna give you, you know, like this stuff behind me, this is gonna be more bright, and you're gonna lose maybe a little bit of detail and color in the clouds. If you're coming from digital, that sounds like really bad, but on film it's a really pleasant thing, and it just looks totally different. And so again, if your horizon line is here, sky, ground, right? You can also take one with the meter, with the frame composed of both, and get like a 50-50% reading. It's like kind of coarse, but that's a good way to do it. And then you could also do just sky, which is kind of how you might do it for digital. So I usually will take two though. I like to see the difference. Sometimes like the underexposed one just looks kind of cool. So I'll usually take one exposed just at the shadows, right? I get the reading and then I recompose and shoot that frame. And then I'll take one with the composition that I want, kind of that a little bit of super bright sky and super dark foreground coming in, and get kind of that middle reading. And it varies which exposure I'll pick after reviewing the photos. It's nice to have an option. With film, I know every shot costs money, but I think if you're too afraid to experiment a little bit, then you won't ever get like super dialed in for what works for you. So it's worth it, and you know, to take a couple of test shots here and there and just, you know, figure out what you like. That'll do it. Maybe one more. Okay. Do I use filters with film? Yes. I use a circular polarizer like most of the summer. I'm always shooting around water, and a circular polarizer just like does it. Even the clouds and everything just are so, to me, positively impacted by having a polarizer. It's not something you need all the time, and you don't always want to crank it to like the highest setting. Like it can get a little bit old, but what you can do is back it all the way off and give it a little bit of a twist. I'm talking about circular polarizers mainly because that's really the one that I use for film. You can use any filter at all that you want for film, but that's the big one for me. Here's one. What was your toughest / most challenging photo experience? Nothing like too tough. I was on a shoot in Iceland one time, and it was a shot of this girl rowing in a rowboat in this like Icelandic lake. And so, you know, the production company has sourced a prop. It's this dude has a little fishing boat in Vic. It's like a 12-foot boat or something. And so we like take it, go up into, I think, the start of the Highlands, and put the boat in the water. And it's summer, but it's like 45 degrees outside. And I am to get in the boat with the subject and shoot this like wide angle shot. She's like rowing in front of me, and I'm leaned way back with this like 12mm lens on, like clicking. The boat we picked up though had a leak in it, and it looked like it had a leak in it, and it turned out it did. And so basically we would have to row, and I would shoot a sequence, click, 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 do that whole thing, and then I would stop, put the camera down, and I would take the bucket and bail water as fast as I could while she backed up towards shore so we could start again. So click, 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 camera down, bail water frantically, and you know there's like 15 people back here on the shore just watching you. I think half of them think it's hilarious and half of them are like insurance liability. So we did that, and then they wanted one other angle, so I ended up like rolling up my pants, which is not very easy, like with these babies, and I like step into the lake to get beside the boat, and I just go down to like knee height. And apparently it's all goose poop, so I shot that, and that got like a big bravo from the team. But that was, I mean, in no way a real struggle. It was the thing that came to mind first. I think that is it for this video. Caleb is now giving me a big thumbs up, but thank you guys for watching all that. You can, you know, like and subscribe, or again, you don't have to. Be yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna go home and do email and phone call and all that stuff later. This video is brought to you by Bernzomatic.
Oh, I've been trying to be what you want me to. Give me something